how you guys doing out there? I want to tell you a story about when I was about 12 years old and I got my mother. I was waiting at the dentist's office for my mother. When I was at school, one of my mother's friends came to pick me up from the school to take me to the dentist because my mother was at work. I was wondering where she was at, why it was taking her so long to pick me up from the dentist after the dentist was completed with my went for a regular cleaning. So the entire time the dentist office closed and my mother still hadn't come pick me up. So I was like, oh my goodness. I just started walking to get home. Now where I live was maybe like 5-6 miles from the dentist office, but I really didn't know where I was going. I was new to the apartment complex that we lived in, so I didn't know too much direction, but I thought I did. I thought I could map it out from where we were. So as I started walking, it's about 5 o'clock, the dentist office closed. A couple minutes later, after I started walking, it started pouring down, raining. And then I'm looking around hoping that I could see my mother coming as I'm walking. I didn't see no side of her car. It started getting dark. I started crying and carrying on stupid because I was scared, didn't know what to do. I'm wet, soaking wet from the rain. And as I was walking, I saw a car turn around, made a U-turn. And when the car made the U-turn, he stopped right there on the side where I was walking at. And he said, hey, where are you coming from? Where are you going? I saw you walking a while ago and I made a U-turn. I said, I'm going home. Meanwhile, I'm terrified because I don't know this man. It was, I think he was either white or Hispanic, but I'm thinking he was a white guy, younger guy. We looked between the age of 29, late 20s, early 30s, when I think about it. So he was like, go ahead, come and get in the car and I'll take you home. I was like, well, I don't know. I'm gonna wait for my mother. He was like, well, is she coming? He was like, I'll wait right here with you and see if she's coming. And then we waited for a couple minutes and no sign of my mother. So he was like, just come in the car and I'll take you home. Just let me know where you at. Living decide with nothing else to do, with it pouring down raining, I decided to go ahead and get in the car with him so he could take me home. I didn't really know where I lived at the time because, again, I was fairly new to my apartment complex. I was only 12 years old, so I didn't know directions that well. So we rode around for a couple minutes just looking for the apartment because, I kept saying, the apartment is this road. I knew the name of the street. I knew it was a Publix across the street, but I didn't know exactly the directions. Finally, about 25-30 minutes later, we found the apartment where our apartment. He took me home, let me out. I said, thank you. I don't even remember his name. I don't remember anything about him, what he looked like. I know he was either white or Hispanic. I'm assuming he was a white guy. I knew he was not an older white guy. But he was, at that time, when I got out of the car, I was so excited because I was scared because, you know, you see on television so many different kids who are kidnapped, who get in the cars with people. And growing up in Fort Lauderdale, you know, you hear about all type of different trafficking stuff, people trafficking kids into sexual prostitution. So I was blessed that day, and he was an angel sent to me. And I don't recommend anybody getting in a car with a stranger. At that time, I was desperate, and just God was on my side at that time. Now, the reason I was doing this video because I was talking to my mother about the incident today, and she mentioned to me that I asked her if she remembered the incident. She said, yeah, that's something that she never forgot. And I asked her why. Did it stay on her mind? Because she said she thought that the guy had did something to me sexually at that time, and that was years ago, as again when I was 12 years old. And I was like, well, why didn't you ask me? She said, I don't know. She was like, well, did he? I said, no, he was an angel sent from God to me that day, because at that point, yes, he could have, and it could have went the wrong way, but God was on my side. He never touched me. He never did anything sexual to me. And again, I said, I don't recommend anybody going into a car with a stranger because you never know who is who. But my mother, like today, it's been years, and today she really got that relief that nothing happened to me. But she's mentioned to me that she always felt guilty because she felt like she didn't come pick me up on time. And really why she didn't come pick me up on time is because the person who she was working for at the time didn't let her off in time to come pick me up. She was supposed to get off at 2 o'clock to pick me up, but her manager at the time was like, had made her work her entire shift. So after that, she got off of work like at 5 o'clock, and that's when the office closed and I started walking. If I would have just stayed outside, it probably would have been better. But I hate that she thought about it for years, not knowing what happened, and thought that the guy had did something to me. But I'm glad that she got that relief and she got that closure, that nothing ever happened to me, and she could like get that off her head, that it didn't. And she kept saying, I don't know why I just didn't leave work when I was supposed to. She said that's what she kept saying to me today. So I'm glad she was able to get the closure she received today by me telling her that nothing ever happened, which is true. Nothing didn't happen. That was God sent an angel to come cover me that day, and I'm glad that it was the right angel and it wasn't the wrong one. It wasn't the devil that came and got me that day. Be blessed, be safe, and always follow your dreams. I just wanted to follow up on the incident that happened when the stranger picked me up from the dentist. You know, I always thought about this gentleman because I really felt like he was a God-sent blessing to me. Because I would like to say thank you to him. I kind of remember what he looked like. I do kind of remember he had like a small little truck. It wasn't a big truck. It's like because it was only a 2-seater truck. I remember that. But whoever he is or wherever he is, hopefully he's still around. I just want to say thank you to him for being that angel for me that day, because God knows that things have gone left with other people, but I know it was somebody praying for me, and I pray that he find his blessing, because he was a blessing. And I know if he stopped and did that, he might have done some really good things in life. That gentleman. And so you guys, make sure you do follow on, do something good for other people. You never know who might need your help and who you might be a blessing to, and then that blessing might turn around and come back to you one day. I always said that everybody needs somebody, no matter what, no matter if it's a ride somewhere, no matter if it's somebody talking to you. So pave it on, do something kind for people, you know. And I say that to that angel that picked me up that day, I pray for you all the time. I promise I do. I always think about him. I always think about what he did for me, how he picked me up we was in Coral Springs on Ramblewood Road. I remember that incident that night. May God be with you and your family. I know you are a blessing to somebody, because you was definitely a blessing to me that day. People, be safe, be blessed, always follow your dreams. Make sure you please follow me on my blog channel, TerryAnnTheWriter.com. Please follow me on Instagram at TerryAnnTheWriter. I'm also on Facebook. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Be a blessing to someone and be good.